Good morning. My name is Petty Officer Vasquez. I'm relaxing in my home the same way I always do, in Trops. If you're watching this, that means you're interested in learning about port state control life-saving systems. This is part 6 of an 18-part series where we break down the Port State Control Examiner PQS section by section. Disclaimer, this is only the April 2022 revision. Our objective in this video is to give you a brief introduction into life jackets, immersion suits, life buoys, lifeboats, and rescue boats. It's important to remember that for a greater in-detail discussion, you should rely on your Port State Control officer, training tactics and procedures, new virtual courses, job aids, and other resources. Please remove tasks numbers LS01, 02, 05, 06, 07, and 10, found on the corresponding page numbers. And let's get started. Utilizing and familiarizing yourself with the listed references is key to acquiring the sign-off.
Life jackets can be found on the bridge, engine control room, and all other manned watch stations for members on watch. You can check additional stowage per the fire and safety plan. You must see the SOLAS seal of approval on all life jackets. They shall be in serviceable condition with no unapproved modifications or markings covering the retroreflective tape. The whistles must be attached via a lanyard. You can have the crew test the whistles while on an exam. Ensure the light is functional or a battery expiration date if the light cannot be tested. Light must be white in color and secured to the life jacket in such a way that it does not come off. On a PSC-B exam, you can test the lights of watch standards. On a PSC-A exam, you can test the lights during an abandoned ship drill. If it's an inflatable life jacket, it must also be provided with a manual operated switch. It must have a pull string to automatically deploy CO2, as well as a mouthpiece to inflate by mouth. Annual shore-based servicing records must be provided. If you see a life jacket older than 2010, it does not require to be in compliance with the new SOLAS regulations. Retroreflective tape shall be placed as high as possible on the life jackets, with 400 centimeters of reflective tape distributed. For stowage, it must be readily accessible, plainly indicated, and not impede access to the lifeboat. Immersion suits are required for every person on board cargo ships, including passengers. They shall be provided for watch standards on the bridge, engine control room, and remotely located survival craft stations. Immersion suits are not required if a ship is constantly engaged in warm climates unless it is a bulk carrier. First, you must verify stowage per the fire and safety plan. Then, the type of immersion suit, because some immersion suits are worn in conjunction with a life jacket. If it is not with a life jacket, verify immersion suit lights and whistles are operating and in good condition. Then, you can verify the serviceable condition of the immersion suit by checking the adhesion seals along seams adjoining the zipper to the suit and ensure there are no unapproved modifications. This next step is very important. You must verify the appropriate size for the crew members. You can have them test it by putting it on. Next, stowage. It must be readily accessible, plainly indicated, and not impede access to the lifeboat. These are the key items to verify for the quick release life buoy: that it is releasable from the bridge, the expiration dates, the smoke and light functionality, the weight of the quick release life buoy ought to be greater than or equal to 4 kilograms, the ship name and registry for the buoy. It must be marked in block capital letters of the Roman alphabet. It must be located on both sides of the ship, and it must not be permanently secured in any way. Now, during your examination of the deck walk, you must verify the following: the required number and physical location per fire and safety plan of life buoys, marked with port of registry and ship name. It must be in serviceable condition, including grab lines, color, and retroreflective material. At least 2 life buoys must have a buoyant lifeline. You must spot check the functionality of the lights, and one must be in the vicinity of the stern. This next bit may seem like a lot of information, but remember, rely on the individuals of your team and on repetition for a better understanding. The lifeboat safety features include the davit arms that are fully in the upright position with securing pins in place, preventing release of davit arms. If the lifeboat is hanging vertically, the floating blocks must be securely seated in the notch of each davit arm and lifeboat secured in the cradle by the grips. You can ensure the lifeboat release hooks are in the closed position with the O-rings securely seated in the lifeboat release hooks. Inspection pins or maintenance straps in place at the release hook for the examination. You can remove these afterwards. Let's discuss maintenance intervals. The weekly maintenance shall be visually inspected for conditions of hooks, attachments, and release gear. All engines shall be run for no less than 3 minutes, with the exception of free-fall lifeboats, must be moved from the stowed position. Now the monthly maintenance should go through an inventory checklist and ensure each item is satisfactory. The maintenance log will keep a general log for all completed maintenance. For davit systems, falls are required to be replaced within 5 years, or if damaged. You should look for any broken wires. Look for proximity and limit switches. Look for remote pull on winch and controls. The lifeboat exterior should be checked for unapproved repairs. Checked for markings such as total capacity, ship's name and port on both sides, ship's name marked and visible from above, and retroreflective tape. You can have the crew remove the plug before starting. To verify the lifeboat's interior, first you can verify the presence of operating instructions. Then, feel free to ask the third officer for an inventory list of the lifeboat and verify all the proper components. For lifeboats on a tank ship, if it's carrying flammable cargoes, these lifeboats must have fire protection. These protections shall at least last 8 minutes. If it is equipped with a water mist system, check the piping and nozzles for good working order. If the nozzles look corroded or inoperable, you can test with fresh water for operability. If the vessel is carrying toxic chemicals, a self-contained air support system shall be installed. If that's the case, you shall check the following: number of bottles in the system, setting of regulator and relief valve. Verify posted operating instructions. You can have a crew member turn on one bottle, watch the gauge to ensure pressure matches the pressure on the bottle. You can have them secure the bottle and watch the gauge for decrease to confirm if there's any leaks in the system. Free-fall lifeboats are required on bulk carriers constructed after July 2006. You can verify the following: that the SART is provided and that it's secured in a way to prevent unintentional release. To conduct a lifeboat operations test, you can lower the lifeboat on cargo ships. The lifeboat shall be capable of being launched in 10 minutes after an abandoned ship drill. You can do a brake test. Ensure when the brake is freely released by the crewman, no additional assistance or force is used for setting the brake. Finally, you can have a crew member test the proximity limit switch. For rescue boats, you can check rescue boat equipment and markings for the total capacity, ship's name and port on both sides, ship's name marked and invisible from above, the retroreflective tape. You can check for the approval plate and verify that the rescue boat has sufficient fuel. If it's a fast rescue boat, you must ensure that it is capable of reaching 20+ knots, and ensure that the crew has endorsements to operate the fast rescue boat. If it's an inflatable rescue boat, ensure chambers are fully inflated at all times. In colder climates, the air inside tends to compress. Rescue boat winches usually only have 2 speeds, and you must ensure to test the limit switch. Remember, this was designed to be a brief introduction. Please make time to follow up with your nearest Port State Control officer near you for any questions.
Thank you for expressing an interest in learning about Port State Control life-saving systems. I know I've enjoyed our time together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification bell for future installments of this series. Now, if you'll please excuse me, I gotta find a cup of coffee.